you get your greatest success, your greatest stories, you get your greatest experiences in life. And normally the story will start something like this. I took this risk, or I decided to just go out on my own, or I decided to do this. And it could have turned out either way. That's life. Yeah. There's a risk of sitting on your ass in your mama's basement, right? There is.
Oh, there is.
There's a huge risk in buying a home. I wouldn't say a huge risk in buying a home. There's a risk in buying a home. There's a risk in buying investment properties. There's a risk in investing in your 401k. Ask all the 60 to 65-year-olds whose 401ks were booming, and then all of a sudden things kind of turned around and 401ks are down 30, 40% right now, right? There's a risk there, and they got to retire in 10 years. Do they have time to make up that 30% drop for their retirement, or did their retirement just take a huge hit, right? Do you zoom out on housing? That doesn't typically happen. It goes down for short periods of time and comes right back. So there's a risk in anything you do, but every story, every great person, every successful person, every person that you should probably be looking up to, you should look into the most successful people in our country, what they did throughout the history of the country, because I do this. And every single story starts with, I took this risk. Ben, when we started this business, we took a risk. And it's paying off. And now we have Donovan, and we have other people in our company. We have an organization that is growing, and we're going to be at 20-plus employees by December.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
It is. And I mean, but we're giving you your opinion. Right. And we made our decision.
And we win, and we win, and we win, and we win.
We kept an open mind. We looked into things. We did our own research through multiple different platforms. And we have our own opinions on things.
Right.
And that's all. Like, if I can tell you anything, it's not necessarily do what I say, but it's just have an open mind, listen to it, look into it for yourself, make your own decision. Don't just look at the headlines. Don't just look at things and just say, oh, well, it's scary, I'm not going to do it.
You want to know what I would tell people? Just do what I say.
Well,
I wonder if people realize, like, I'm joking around being sarcastic with some of the stuff I say. But what's our next topic, Benny?
All right, let's get to our last topic. It won't be too long. But another industry, and we've talked about this market before, the home building market. But
this doesn't make any sense to me. I know where you're going with this.
I don't know if you do. Well, maybe so. But we're talking a lot of statistics in this video and last video in terms of the current market, what it means in terms of families growing. How are build numbers so low still?
And
it is such a great time to build, because right now you're looking at
I actually know the answer to this. Can I tell you?
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I just met with a builder.
Right.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. But literally they're getting their credit line, even with perfect history, high credit, like their credit lines to build are being cut off from them. So the banks and the credit unions and a lot of the people who provide them the funds to be able to build are saying, hey, you can no longer do 4 houses at a time. You can only do 2, right? You can no longer do, and like people think of builders as mass builders. It's like the trucking industry. You have these huge trucking companies, but a majority of like 97% of that industry is made up with small trucking companies. A majority of the building industry is made up with small builders. They might build spec homes, they might build custom homes, or so on and so forth, right? But they're losing their credit lines.
Yeah.
For no reason. They're just being cut back because everybody's getting more conservative, probably because we're in a recession that they're not talking about. But that's part of the reason, right? And then there's fear mongering as well. Go ahead.
But no, and I get it. And I think that's about to change also, but we'll get into that in a minute. But you look at the housing numbers, like they're in the perfect time, because we all know, experts are all saying rates are going to come down within the next 12 months.
Some experts. Some experts.
Most that I believe know what they're talking about. I'll say that.
Okay, so but that's the minority, right? That's the thing, and I know this frustrates you, but this is the truth. The minority of people who are actually because there's not a bunch of experts. There's a minority of people who are an expert on any topic, and I agree with the experts that you look at, but it's a minority. The mass media is not pushing that rates are coming down and everything's going to be okay. Nobody's saying that outside of the people that we follow in our industry. We follow all of it,
right?
But the ones who actually have the data-driven facts and the data-driven opinions, those are the ones that you want to pay attention to. The Barry Habibs of the world, guys like that who are actually actually looking into this. When I see stuff about like overvalue this and that, but I know the data behind it, it'd be like trying to tell me that Nomar Garcia-Parra was better than Derek Jeter. I look at the statistics and then the World Series rings and the longevity, and it's not true, right?
Right.
That's data-driven fact to all my Red Sox fans. That's a fact, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, is like people call it opinion. Okay, it's an opinion based on data-driven facts.
Right.
So you're right. The interest rates are going to come down. You're right. Maybe it's going to change, but what's going to change it are those big-time builders throwing up neighborhoods, and they're not willing to do it because they have billions of dollars in the bank. And typically the ones with the billions and billions of dollars, those big companies, they're the ones who squeeze and tighten up. That's why I wonder. Well, and the people who are smaller see the opportunity, right? And I was just with a home builder. Maybe we'll have him on the show one of these times, but I was just with him and we were having the conversation and he was like, I see the opportunity there.
I would love to see builders. It is, in my opinion, it is the perfect opportunity to build. Like this, the timing is right for a build. You're going to catch the right side on builds. And I think the market's shifting to that. And we're seeing lenders start to do that. There's one-time closes are starting to pick up.
Right.
It is the next thing, in my opinion, it is one of the next things that is going to explode in the mortgage industry.
Well, and
people are going to take advantage of it.
And it's one-time close, so spec homes that
right.
And that's for first-time home buyers. A lot of first-time home buyers are doing it.
Absolutely.
And a brand new home.
Right. And you mentioned spec homes, like people are doing it for investment properties. I mean,
that is a huge market.
Downside of it. You talk about the Blackstone who's out there.
Yeah.
Why are they now partnering with who? Is it Lennar or who is?
Blackstone's not. Lennar's partnering with somebody else who's a big time investor like that, $1 billion company. I forget who it is off the top of my head, but
because they
single family rentals, dude, I've had 15 conversations this week with realtors and people who they're talking about getting into it themselves. Single family rentals.